of the live streaming app. Would be nice, to actually, maybe let you prepare said app and, I don't know, bring it back in some way. Maybe I could, click the share button, I could share it out with my audience, before I go live. But no. Oh, dearie me. But no, we are out once again, early, back once again with the Renegade Master. Don't know why I've got that stuck in my head now, but there you go. But we're back. There we go. But yes, we're back. Been some time, but good to be back. Like I say, hay fever now. Well and truly, season for me is over, thank God. And of course, you know what that means. Pony time. So, Nargillen, good morning. Good morning. I'm sure, actually, can I share it from here? No, annoyingly, I can't. That is incredibly annoying, that. Dave W, good morning. Like I say, good morning. It is a lovely morning here. Although it's going to rain later this afternoon. So I thought, why not get out and restart the good morning walk again? Because I need to get back and doing this. Because I've got out of it. Like I say, I have a weird hay fever that's, sort of more linked to trees. Which is, again, really weird. So I don't get hay fever, but I get it every 5 to 6 years, which again is weird and unexpected. And just this year in particular, just really, really bad. Yeah, really bad. I'd be going down here and immediately I'd be like, bleh, bleh. Sneeze. Sneeze, eyes watering, eyes starting to water. And by the time I was down the bottom of the field, I was in a state. I was in a state now, I'll tell you that now, readers. But no, we are back. It's not good to be out, I think, once again. Now, I'm a big fan of, a big advocate. Go out, have a nice morning walk. 5 or 10 minutes, don't have to go far. Do you the world of good every day. As they say. And shockingly as well, I think they've moved the cows. I don't know where they've gone. Unless they're somewhere else. Yeah, exactly. It's something every couple of years. Mostly it's every 5 to 6 years. It just sets me off. It's oh wow, thank you very much, David Falconer. Nope. Keep up the good work. Have missed your morning walks in the summer. I've missed them too, to be honest. I'll go give that a like. There we go. But thank you very much for your super chat on that one. But yeah, I've missed doing them too. And like I say, normally by this point, I'd be literally weeping. It was awful. It was terrible. I couldn't really do them. But don't worry, we are. I do want to get back into doing them. Of course, doing a good, morning walk every so often. Well, not every so often, but every Saturday morning, I think is good. Gets me back in the habit of doing it as well. Annoyingly though, I couldn't share it, which really frustrated me because once again, YouTube have changed the app. For example, every 7 years, acorns drop in massive quantities. So that's squirrels who then, again, bury them obsessively and forget most of their stashes. Yep. Oh. But we are live, and of course we are back. And you may have noticed, because I think I've explained, I used to do a lot of talking about my channel on Good Morning Walks, so that's something I've missed out doing as well. So you may have noticed, really since the May election, and I've done videos for my patrons about this, is I've really switched up to doing videos on what's going on with these reform councillors, because I do think keeping an eye on them and what they're up to is important, because mostly the stuff that is going to happen to them isn't going to get beyond, or at least get out beyond the local area, beyond maybe even the local newspaper. And by next May, I want a whole series of videos of this is what's happened in this council when it's run by Reform. Mostly because, as I've said this before, let's dodge that. That's the other skill that I need to relearn as well. Speaking to you guys while also watching where I'm going, so I don't tread in anything. Definitely a skill that I need to relearn on that one. But as I said last time, the good people of Barnsley, in their infinite wisdom, for some reason, have decided to go for an all-out council election, meaning that all 63 seats, sorry, I might be wrong about that, but I think I'm roughly right, are now up for election. And Barnsley has, since the UKIP days, the Brexit Party days, been a target by Farage's party. So next May, there is going to be a huge presence up here by Reform. I would not be surprised, once again, if Farage visits here multiple times in the morning, because of course he's going to do. Always does this. Every single time. So I want to be able to push back against that, because the last thing I want is, for my town to end up being run by Reform. And generally, from what I've seen from all these other councils that we've been following, it has been just a sheer trail of incompetence. Because I genuinely thought when I started doing those videos, maybe it would be like 1, 2, maybe a week. Maybe I get to, talk about other stuff. Because again, I do want to talk about other stuff. But I've just put that as my top priority at the moment. And I have been shocked that pretty much since that local election, really right up until probably August, maybe the 2nd, 3rd week of August, I was being able to do 2 videos a day on what was going on these reform councils, and constantly seeing more stuff that I'm putting on my shelf of, oh yeah, I can talk about this next. I can talk about what's going on here next. And I've genuinely been so surprised that I've been able to talk this much about just what is going on in the sheer incompetence on the Reform UK councillor front. It has been kind of shocking, because I did not think that they would be this bad. I did not think they would be this bad. I thought they would be bad, but I did not expect it to be this bad. It is kind of shocking on that one. Hang on, is the live chat working? Let me just check. Because sometimes it can work. There we go. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I've been typical. Typical. They've changed the app again, how it all works. So anyway, good morning to everyone, by the way, joining us as well. Leo Sapien, good morning to you. Craig, good morning to you as well. Like I say, good morning to the people joining us in chat. It is been such a bizarre couple of months, honestly, following. Cathlo G, good morning to you as well. It has been such a weird couple of months following, like, all these stories from Reform UK that's been on these local councils. And I've also used it as a teaching moment as well, because something else I've always tried to get across to people is your local politics, what goes on in your town hall. You should be paying just as much attention to what goes on there as does in Westminster. And unfortunately, that's not the case. A lot of people very, very much so ignore what goes on in their local council chamber. Whether it be just they've just got no interest in their local politics, to they just have a really strange view when it comes to local councillors. You be the judge. But there's, and you've seen a lot of that stuff, by the way, in the comments. A lot of that stuff is very much so in the comments. Oh, we're entering into pony territory now. But it always surprises me when people suddenly realise, that local politics kind of matters. It always has mattered, bear in mind, always has. But there's a lot of people who just haven't cared in so many different ways, and why that's happened. And I've often thought about, how do you get to the bottom of this political apathy that has happened at a local political level? Like, where did it happen? How did it happen? And it's difficult to track. I think it's something that has happened over a very long period of time. I think it's something very, very much so that's happened over a long period of time. And that apathy now works in Reform UK's favour. Because we've seen, again, at the last local election, what was the turnout rate? Well, turnout rate in some places barely even got over 30%, which is, not good. In some places, it was even worse. The last time my own hometown went for their own local election, turnout rate was 25%, which is terrible. And one of the things I also keep trying to emphasize to you guys is Reform has a very, very active voter base. Yeah, very true, Craig. The collapse of local news hasn't helped there either. Something, again, I wanted to talk about to Angus when I had that interview with him. Again, really good interview, by the way. Definitely going to try and get him on, I think, again at some point in the future, because I want to talk to him about, local journalism and how important, that stuff really is. Because it is very, very much needed. And you are right, local news, local journalism is important to local democracy, and losing that, I think, has contributed to it. I really think it has. So there is this constant stream. Oh, I'll get more comments. Harold, good morning to you. Good morning to other people joining us as well. Shanks, question. Why are Reform people having active people, but other parties not? Is it emotional triggers? It's not such emotional triggers. It's Farage learnt this lesson a long time ago when he was running for the European Parliament. Remember, the European parliamentary elections, when we had them, had some of the lowest turnouts of any election. I think they would get really roughly about the same, maybe even 24, 25, 26%, I believe they were roughly normally at. They weren't exactly hitting any records. And it's why initially, before UKIP decided to focus on those, it's why the Greens very much so often got all the seats pre the UKIP days. But then along comes Farage, recognises that low voter turnout works in their favour, because if you can motivate your voters, if you can get them out to vote, which is what he did, vote for us, send us to Europe. And we'll give those, Europeans what for, and other extra language used to say about that. But he got them motivated, and he got them motivated to go out and vote. And what happened? Well, he started to win. And just as so what motivates them? It's Farage telling them to go out and vote. And he makes the case constantly how important it is to go out and vote. And you saw this at the local elections. In the last sort of week or so of campaigning, Farage really focused on all his speeches, something which you would never see get picked up by the mainstream media, always was: go out and vote, go out and vote, go out and vote. Because he knows in that area there might be any council ward, there might be like 2,500 people registered to vote. Problem is, maybe at best 600 people go out and vote of those like 2,000-ish people. So if your core voters are part of that 600 that regularly go out and vote, and you can at least get 300 of those people, maybe even get more people who are on your party to go out and register to vote as well, all of a sudden you have a regular, consistent voting block. And always remember, Farage always used the numbers from the European parliamentary elections. They were always used from a UKIP data perspective to try and work out how well they would do in a potential referendum. That was always the case. So now, at local elections, well, once again, low turnout, go out and vote. Go out and vote, go out and vote. Now, that can backfire, because you may remember when we had Councillor Conditor on, he said there had been an increase in voting in his area because of Reform UK. I wish I'd asked him how much, because that would have been, again, a conversation to have. So that is something as well that people will obviously themselves get out and vote against. But then, of course, the question becomes, who do they vote for? But no, he has always been very, very, very active, very, very consistent as Farage, because he knows his support may not be as big as it looks. And we've seen that in by-elections recently. But when it comes, if he can galvanise his voting support, then that's where he wins. And that has always been one of the big factors that Farage has always drilled into his supporters, the importance of going out to vote. So it has been something he has worked on for years, even going back to the UKIP days. Because if you've got low voter turnout, you only need to get your supporters out in numbers, and all of a sudden you've got a very big advantage. Very big advantage indeed. Anyway, I haven't been able to read the comments because the sun's been directly in my eyes. Anyway, I'll tell you what, let's cross the bridge and we'll read some comments. Oh no. Oh no, it looks like they put a metal fence up there. Joy. This has just maybe made the walk a bit more weird. So we'll have an adventure in a moment. But anyway, back to this. Where are we? So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Shanks. Nigel, I see doing the EU elections again with low turnout gives advantage again on a local level. Craig, it'll be interesting to see if your party has any attention span for local election campaigns. We'll see what happens. I mean, bear in mind, when you sign up to the mailing list, again, it is a mailing list, there has only been so far the welcome email that you get, and recently they've sent out, so what should we actually call the party? Like, it's too late. It's too late. It's called your party. You've missed the boat. You've missed the boat on what that was. Leo Sapien, he's got another political Ponzi scheme conference in Birmingham the 5th and 6th September. Yes, because it's conference season coming up for a lot of stuff. And we'll see what happens in the Green leadership election as well. Here we are. Yeah, Cathology. Reform is run authority now from the top table. They parachute in the Yorkshire candidate for the mayor of Croydon. She'd be dead in 6 months previously. Yeah, I did. I'm going to do a story on that one. That is on my shelf of news stories. You know. But yeah, that is the. That is the really. That is why. That is why it happens. It's the low turnout. You know, voter turnout, and especially if you can get, you know, your people out to vote, that really matters. Really, really does matter on that front. Anyway, and I don't think we can get up here anymore, because by the looks of it, I've built a fence, which is gonna be very annoying. I'm gonna have to find a new route now. I wonder if we can just go back up there. But that means maybe I would just climb over the damned fence again. I do wish the farmer here would make up his mind about what he's going to do with this land, because he's bought all of this and he's just done nothing with it so far. I don't know if he intends to use it for building on it. Don't know if he's going to do it, although I don't know why you would do it, because this area floods like crazy if there's a yeah, and there it is. We now have a fence. Joy. Joy of joys. So that stopped me going up there. Yeah, a Corbyn project fudging comms and totally surrendering the messaging. Say it ain't so. I know, and this is something, you know. I know people are just going to get angry at me. You're covering your part. I don't even know if I can get up here now. Shall I just? You know what? Screw it. Let's give it a go. Screw it. Aha. Oh, that's what they've built. They've built a little bulwark here to stop this river from flowing down. Good idea, farmer. That's if the farmer built it. Don't know if it's the council that's built it. Who knows? However, I suspect this is going to get finished soon. This little fence. We're going to have to find another way around in the not too distant future. So we'll have to change our route on the good morning walk for sure at some point. But this is always the case, you know. I made a pony club video about this. It's always weird to me that a lot of people who are the Corbyn supporters basically say I'm not allowed to cover the party unless I'm covering it positively, but I'm not allowed to cover like any of the bad stuff that's been going on, any of the absolute confusion that's been going on there. The fact that there's been now like an open internal battle now wanting to push Jeremy Corbyn out. I don't know if people have actually heard that Zara Sultana is now apparently trying to take over and become the leader of the party and basically try to push Corbyn out. But Corbyn apparently won't go. You know, he wants to lead this. So that's why things are taking longer, apparently, because there's an internal battle behind the scenes on that one. Again, honestly, it is going to be a mess. You know, you've then got, as I did a video a couple of weeks ago about the SWP wanting to take over, you know, infiltrating your party, running meetings, basically so that they get seen as like the legitimate party pick. So when it comes to saying, you're the local party on that area, they are the ones then in control of it. You know? Again, apparently not allowed to do that, even though they are being quite, well, subtly loud about it. You know, You then got all the Galloway goons running in, trying to join the party. Galloway himself, I highly suspect, will make some sort of attempt to join the party. I highly suspect he will at some point. And then, you know, good luck once he's in. Because once he gets his claws in, he ain't leaving. He ain't leaving at all. So it is. I genuinely think it's going to be an absolute mess. Honestly, I absolutely think it's going to be an absolute mess. Because it's the exact same team at the top that were there last time. And last time, you know, didn't kind of work. You know, whoopsie doopsie. And then they blamed it on the media constantly, or they blamed it on Labour. They never for a second did a proper autopsy of what happened in 2019 at all. Never once. And as a result, they're going to go make the same mistakes again. They're going to go make the same exact mistakes again. And this time, well, who are they going to blame this time? You know? Because this party will go, honestly, in one of two ways. Either A, it will do a whole SWP, if people may remember, that split in the 80s. Or it would probably go the way of Change UK, if people remember that party back in the day. You know, big, splashy announcement, did one election and then failed, and then went away very, very quickly. You know, what is it going to do? Which direction is it going to go? And I see the enthusiasm. I do see the enthusiasm. I get it. I get that a lot of people are really enthusiastic about it. But there we go. As I've said before, imagine if those people actually put that enthusiasm into a political party that already exists. You know, it might have a very significant impact on that political party. It doesn't even have to be the Labour Party. But we'll see what happens. And of course, as I cover it, I'm sure I'll get told that I'm not allowed to cover the party. Even though from me beginning this channel, I've always covered like what goes on in like political parties, like the chaos, the internal struggles, the power struggles, always something that has, you know, very, very much interested me. But no, not allowed to cover it. Oh. But I would love to go to that conference. Oh. There would not be enough popcorn in the world to keep me fed from the stuff that would go on there. I expect it to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. But of course, it's my own party conference coming up soon. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to it, because I think I'm again going to be in Aberdeen. I always say I'm going to go and then I forget. I forget to book. I forget to buy a ticket. Completely forgets and goes out the window. But I do want to go one year. I do really want to go. And like I say, I want to live stream it as well. That's been my whole idea, sort of, you know, live stream the day while I'm there. I think that would be a very fun stream, because then we can talk to like a load of other activists, you know, maybe other people that are there. You know, it'll be very fun, I think. Very fun indeed. But yeah, your party is going to be interesting to watch. That's for sure. But something else I do want to talk about, we'll jump onto the Labour front actually. Rachel Reeves has put, very interestingly, in her top team, she had a bit of a team reshuffle. And one of her now top advisors is from, I'm just trying to remember what the think tank's called now. It's gone completely out of my head. But the think tank is all about helping lower and middle income families, and it's essentially being very anti-austerity. We've also been hearing a lot of stuff about the landlord tax. Which, again, I think, would be very good. I really want them to do that gambling tax as well. I think that would be, honestly, for like social good, I think very good indeed. Because whenever I rejoined Netflix a couple of months ago, but I got the ad account because I'm as someone who's into, marketing, advertising, I'm always very interested, like, to watch adverts. I find watching them really, interesting to watch. But every single ad I've ever had on Netflix is all gambling. It's been unbelievable how much, like, I get bombarded by that. It's just like, why Netflix? Why are you constantly bombarding me with like gambling ads? Not something I'm particularly interested in, not something I've ever done. But no, it's constantly gambling ads. And it's just like, they must be spending an absolute fortune on this. And I do think that for the social good, there should be a tax on the gambling industry. I think that for the very social good of the UK, it should be something that is done. Please gamble responsibly at the bottom of those adverts is not a very good deterrent. And imagine for a second if you were an addict. Like, generally, imagine for a second if you were someone who had a gambling problem and you got Nope. Morning. Morning. But yeah, imagine for a second, for a moment, if you were someone who had a gambling addiction, right? And you think, oh, well, tell you what, I'll get Netflix, but I'll get the, I'll get the one with the ads because it's cheaper, right? And all you get bombarded with is gambling ads. I mean, not good. That is really, really not good. If you were, someone who's like that and you're constantly getting bombarded with that type of ads. I mean, I'll have to look into it as well, but I don't even think that there is an option. I think this is something else maybe that should be discussed. Maybe if you are online and maybe you do have these types of problems, you should be able to go, I have a gambling problem. I do not want to see gambling advertisements. I mean, why not? I think that should be, honestly, a standard most of these streaming companies should have, because I don't know if people actually know the origin stories of ad blockers. The origin story for ad blockers is that the guy who was sort of setting... There we go. A nice little attempt at a little bridge. The origin story for ad blockers is the guy who originally sort of came up and did the idea. Obviously, he was like really annoyed at the state of internet ads, but I also believe he had a gambling addiction as well, and was fed up of seeing gambling ads. So I do think that there is really like a moral good to tax the gambling industry on this. And I also think they need to push like websites like that to basically say, right, well, I do not want to see these certain type of ads. I think you could even push Google into doing that. So I do think it would be very much so a moral good for that to happen. There we go. But no, it is good to be out once again. It is very, very good to be out once again on the Good Morning Walk. And like I say, I do intend to try and get back into the habit of doing the morning walk again. I do apologise again for not pre-advertising it, because thank you YouTube for immediately kicking me to go live. It's not how it used to work, but there you go. Thank you very much again for that, YouTube. Please do click on the like and share button, as that does, of course, help the stream, get more people in to the channel, etc, etc. Oh look, more ponies. Ta-da. I haven't got anything for you, unfortunately. I did that. I instantly thinks I've got something for him. No, I have nothing for you there. Nothing for you, I'm afraid, boys. So I do think that the upcoming budget, I think, could be very interesting. Not only that, but we've got some good bills coming up for the slate in September. So there will be lots of stuff to see what happens on the Labour front with those bills in this session. So we will see what happens with those bills. But a lot of them I think are quite good. The planning one, probably going to be, I think, the biggest noise about, certainly, for sure. Just because, you know, altering planning law brings out the NIMBYs in their droves. Because I don't know if people have ever realised that, you know, one of the big problems is the fact that council houses aren't get built is because we've made it a lot harder to build on things. So there are going to be a lot of, I think, a big skirmish. I think a very big skirmish about that. That's for sure. And hopefully they don't get forced into a U-turn, because I think this is very much something that it needs to be really looked at, needs to be really addressed on that front, especially when it comes to planning. So we are now coming to the end of our good morning walk, alas. But no, I have enjoyed it again. I've enjoyed getting out into the fresh air. So as always, as they say, go out, enjoy your weekend. If you can't be safe, at least be sensible. And have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And of course, next time, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, weather depending. This was the biggest problem, because during summer, I could have easily just gone and done out all this. My hay fever, stopped me from doing it. At least this year. Next year, hopefully not. But now obviously going to be going into autumn, winter, of course, weather. So, you know, weather depending on that front. If not, then, you know, maybe we'll end up doing an indoor stream to change on that. But no, thank you very much everyone for joining me this morning. It has, as always, been an absolute delight and pleasure to have a walk with you all. So go out, enjoy your weekends, have fun, and as always, I'll see you all next time. When I get there.